What I do remember, though, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was the next thing I was going to talk about, the way he discovers who the Joker was, I thought was really cool. So when he just takes that red pencil and draws the big smile on his face.
Right? That was like, as a child, I was like
That's
semi-freaked out by that.
And especially the way the laugh just kicks in immediately when he does it.
Yeah. Like, you know what's weird? I'm slowly starting to discover that like my deeper laugh that I have actually sounds a little like the Joker when he's first starting out.
Yeah.
Like it's super weird. Like every once in a while I hear myself going something shit like that. I'm like, oh god.
It's beautiful, but at the same time it's the worst.
Yeah.
Oh man, there was also a cool little thing they did in that movie where, and I don't think they really discussed or pushed it well in any other Batman movie, animated or otherwise, and it's the fact that Bruce is like super unhappy with being Batman at one point.
In
Mask of the Phantasm,
I remember him being like not necessarily unhappy that he's Batman, but unhappy that like, you know, he has to break a promise more or less.
Yeah, he goes to his parents' grave and he just begs for them to understand why he doesn't want to be Batman anymore. And it's just like, oh my goodness, that's really good.
Right.
I never even thought about that. And that was also, like you said too, a lot of stuff in that I understood less as a child. Like the first time I saw it, I was just like, oh hey, it's the Joker. I don't understand why he got involved, but he's here and he's a bad guy.
You know what else was really horrifying in that particular movie? Like
the Phantasm itself.
No, actually, the where the Joker was actually staying at just terrified the shit out of me.
That place of the future when it's rusted over.
Yeah.
Or even there's an awesome little thing they did where when
robot wife.
When Bruce first, because he and Andrea go there on a date, and she starts talking to him, and he just completely like loses her for a second
because he sees the Batmobile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the best ways to introduce the Batmobile and its design.
I like the fact that like in a lot of what Batman is, like he makes his own Batmobile, but that was like the only one where he was just like, that's my Batmobile. And then from there he was like,
there was just so much about that movie that was really good. And another Batman movie that I think got a little bit less, just a little bit less, was Sub-Zero. The one Mr. Freeze kidnaps, I think he kidnaps Batgirl because Batgirl has the same blood type as his wife.
He could have asked.
He could have asked.
Like, Batman is so cool with Mr. Freeze when Mr. Freeze is not being a dick.
That's kind of true, but I think just because of the way or the time when this story was told, Mr. Freeze hadn't been established as a villain yet. So it was kind of like he first showed up and everyone's like, who are you? Because the way he doesn't realize he's kidnapping Batgirl. He kidnaps Barbara Gordon because he uses I think the police database or a hospital database to look up blood types. And he's like, Barbara Gordon.
The commissioner's daughter, which is stupid to do, honestly, on his part as well.
On a lot of levels, a very poor decision.
Why didn't he just rob a blood bank? I'm sure she's donated blood before.
I think he needed a live donor because he essentially wanted to harvest half of her body. It wasn't just like, I need a couple pints of blood. It's like, I need your blood, all of it. And a couple of lungs and a liver wouldn't hurt either.
A couple of lungs.
It's basically going to be Barbara's going to die.
Yeah. I feel like he's such a genius. He could have just cloned that shit. He wasn't even living in the United States anymore. Wasn't he living in Antarctica?
He was living like way out in the Arctic.
Yeah, he was living someplace so cold. He could have. There were like no rules that applied to him. Like all he'd need was like to go and get stuff slowly, and he could have built anything he wanted. She's been in cryogenic stasis for so long. She hasn't aged either. Like,
yes,
he's aged, I think. Or did the you know, the frozen that he put himself through, like, did that decrease the rate at which he ages?
I think it would have to a certain degree.
I would be so down to read that comic any damn day of the week, like where they establish that he's almost ageless because he's like the Ice King in that regard. Like he has
the Iceman cometh.
He has the powers of ice and snow. Also, I wish that they would make him some sort of like the elemental of ice. That'd be neat.
You talking about Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like, just like it's expand on him. He's almost like a B villain. You never see him in any comic books.
I think you just see him less now because, like, I think it's the same with characters like the Penguin, where it's like, I just feel like you see them less because
you can see the Penguin all the time, depending on what Batman story you're reading. Because it, like, the thing is, most of the time when you're reading a Batman story that involves Mr. Freeze, it revolves around heartbreak. And, like, when you're reading something about the Penguin, it's because the Penguin is a douchebag dickhole that, like, manipulates the underground mafias and things and doing whatever the fuck he wants.
I guess from that point of view, it would just be one of those things where it's more like, to a certain degree, Mr. Freeze feels less like a villain and more just like a guy who wants something badly enough to break the law, even though what he wants isn't bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, his story revolves around heartbreak because he'll never be able to get his wife back. That's the thing. His wife is never going to be alive again, and he's in this state of denial that is ridiculous. He's frozen, like, in a state of time, not just, you know, like, not just literally. He's frozen almost metaphorically in like a state of grief that he'll never get past.
There was something really cool they did in Batman Beyond, which is the episode where Mr. Freeze was the villain.
I liked that episode.
That was really good. I actually really liked a lot of those.
Batman Beyond, every fucking episode was good to me. I never had, like, there was an episode I was just like, oh, fuck that.
Even the way they did, like, especially the way they did stuff like Bane, I thought was really cool.
Oh yeah, the thing where they were talking about how steroids are bad.
Yeah, well, that was essentially the message of it, but also the fact that they had taken like that same Venom serum and they had applied it to these patches that you could then just slap all over yourself and just become this titan.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Didn't they rename it something other than Bane Venom at the time too?
Yeah, I don't think it was called Venom. I think it had another name that was more like not user friendly, but just more marketable. Because no one wants to, hey man, let's get some Venom.
Also, I like that, like, just some jock like beat Terry McGinnis in the Batman suit by using those patches. That is outrageous. He's about as strong as Superman in that shit. Or, like, I wouldn't say, like, about as strong as
I wouldn't say as strong as Superman, but he's definitely...
He's got similar strength.
He is he is superhuman at that point because of that suit.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool bat suits, I remember...
Azrael's from The Broken Bat. That was a cool one.
That was a cool one, but being more on the topic of still being with Batman Beyond, the suit that Bruce wears for the last time when Ink is the villain... And it's like a giant, it's like a big machine that he wears.
Yeah, wasn't that kind of like, wasn't that almost like one of the robots in Kingdom Come?
It was very much like the robots. There's not one robot. It was very much like the robots in Kingdom Come. I think it was just smaller. And he wears it to save Terry's life. But it was just a really cool suit. And also just that the last time Bruce puts on a bat suit, technically speaking, the last time he puts on the bat suit in the show was actually really sad.
Was it that one where he was like talking to that girl? Like he had to talk her down from ruining reality with her mind? Was that the thing?
No. The first time the last time I should say that he wears it, as far as I remember, was there's an instance where he's getting older and so on and so forth, and these kids are...
Oh, it's the one where he uses that gun, huh?
Yeah, well, he doesn't actually use the gun, but he threatens the guy with a gun.
He gets pissed off at himself.
And he just becomes horrified. And he's like, never again.
Right.
And that was really good. I really liked that translated well to the fact that he hates guns.
Yeah.
He absolutely hates guns.
It's because guns killed him.
Killed him parents.
It killed him parents. Parents in bed.
And if ever there were a comic book character where I would expect him to really take sides in that political gun debate, it would be him. And I just like that, as far as I've seen, that hasn't happened. It's just like, I don't like guns because they killed my parents. That's it.
I don't think that he would. He's not the kind of guy who would get political about a gun debate. I don't think that he gives a shit. I think he just wants to keep guns out of the hands of criminals, and he knows that no matter what, a criminal will have a fucking gun.
That's how you know they're a bad guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you can take guns off the market, and they'll still have guns. That's what sucks. I think that's also something he knows. That's why he stays out of politics almost completely. so you can think of Batman however you want. He's just like the most neutral person ever. I mean, he's got a business to look after, so I'm sure he's dedicated to his interests in that regard. But I'd say he was more like Bill Gates. Doesn't really take a lot of sides. Like, you see him donate to various charities and shit like that. But
I really like the fact that he was never political. Mainly just because of the fact
I hate the Green Arrow. That's why I don't want him to be political. Like, because I mostly hate the Green Arrow because he's so overtly political. And not because he's a liberal. I don't give a shit about whether or not he's liberal. It's because he throws his views in the face of the reader so much, generally speaking.
I think my least favorite political move that a comic book ever took was
Speedy does speed.
No, that was a good one. I really liked that. When Superman renounced his U.S. citizenship.
Oh yeah,
that was one of my least favorite decisions in all of comic book writing.
Wait, hold on. Did Superman have a U.S. citizenship? I didn't think he did. I thought Clark Kent did, but not Superman.
Well, I think Clark Kent is Superman.
No, that's the thing. Like, I'm sure Clark Kent still stays in the U.S. sometimes. Like,
no, he stays. He stays in the U.S. It's just that he refuses to be a citizen of the nation. You can live there and not be a citizen.
That's true, but you couldn't really have a job there.
Yeah,
you have to have a worker's visa the whole time.
Or you just have a green card. I mean, there are plenty of ways around it. It's just that.
Well, the thing is, Superman would need a green card if he wanted a job, but Clark Kent, he was technically born in Kansas and everything like that.
I think you're just looking at this way too hard. It's just the fact that the character, whether it was Superman or Clark Kent, said, "I don't want to be American," and whoever wrote that.
It was the creator of Superman, the original creator, but
was just making such I never considered him American to begin with.